Hello, I'm Dr. Kayleen Asbo, music historian in residence for the Santa Rosa Symphony Orchestra. I want to invite you to come to our series of upcoming concerts on February 10th, 11th, and 12th, when we will be interviewing and auditioning our final candidate for music director, Michael Christie. Our first piece is a symphonic suite by Leonard Bernstein. Originally, the music that he created was to accompany the Academy Award-winning film On the Waterfront. But Leonard Bernstein was so unhappy with what was done in the cut and paste of that movie that he took the musical material and brought it together to create this suite for symphony that expressed the full range of the arc of the story. The movie, as those of you who have seen it will remember, is about Marlon Brando's quest for justice and dignity in the face of corruption. The music seeks to evoke this journey. It takes us from the lone French horn in the beginning as a symbol of the hero in his lonely quest. That music merges into a sense of chaos and dissonance with looming fear and anxiety before finding the threads of a love song. Now, emboldened by love, the heroic theme returns, triumphing against all odds to make a stand for human dignity, for honesty, for hope. The second piece on our program is Prokofiev's Piano Concerto No. 3. A work of profound paradox, this virtuosic showpiece marries classical form, lush lyricism, and ravishingly beautiful melodies, which are constantly interrupted by irony, anger, and sarcasm. It offers a kaleidoscope of exciting musical colors and an extraordinary range of emotions. After the Russian Revolution, Prokofiev left his homeland. He went into exile. He came to the United States. And here, while he was making his living as a performing concert pianist, he struggled inside between a sense of hope, despair, loss, and joy. He put all of those qualities into his third piano concerto, a work that ultimately he finished in Paris. This is a dynamic, taut, and muscular work requiring ferocious energy with this soloist. It battles between warmth and humanity on the one hand, and sarcasm and despair on the other. It is riddled with tension. We're going to hear so much percussion from our orchestra. They are going to really get a workout in this piece. And the pianist, I would suggest to you, is the most percussive instrument of all, pounding away in octaves, attacking ferocious repeated notes with a sense of the anger that we can imagine would have been present in someone who was forced into exile away from their homeland as their country was turned inside out and upside down by forces of darkness. In the second movement of this piano concerto, we will hear the lyrical longing that is also part of Prokofiev's expressive palette. He was a great composer for ballets, and we will have that lilting sense of elegance that we've heard in other ballets like Romeo and Juliet. This is a beautiful movement filled with theme and variation. That will be quite a contrast with the finale. Prokofiev himself described this last movement as a violent argument contending between forces. We will have the piano and the orchestra in a fight to the death. Our last piece of the evening is Dvorak's New World Symphony. And this is a piece that moves me profoundly, both for the music itself, which is so poignant, so lush, so heartfelt, and so beautiful. But it moves me just as much for the backstory behind it. Antonin Dvorak grew up a very, very poor man in Bohemia, the son of a butcher. He struggled with poverty most of his life, rescued, surprisingly enough, by Johannes Brahms, who saw the spark of genius in Dvorak and became his lifelong patron and lifelong friend. Eventually, Dvorak came to the attention of an American philanthropist. Jeanette Thurber was the heir to a vast fortune, and she had a grand vision. She wanted to establish a music conservatory modeled on the music conservatories of Europe, but one that would be expansive and inclusive and capture the best of the spirit of American openness. She wooed Dvorak to come and to be in charge of this conservatory, and come he did. They established a radical new model of music education in New York City, one that not only welcomed minorities, but provided full scholarships to all Native American and all African American students who matriculated. As his assistant, Dvorak had a man who was the grandson of slaves. This impressed him deeply. During his time off from the conservatory in New York, he would go to Spillville in Iowa, where he would meet on an almost daily basis with descendants from slaves and Native Americans. He was fascinated by their musical language, by the songs that had come from those slave plantations, from the sounds that came from the chants of the Native Americans. And he heard in them a mirror of his own longing. He took all of these longings and he wove them into the creation of his Ninth Symphony. Parts of this will leave your toes tapping. They sound like sea chanties that come from New England, but then we make our way deep into the South. In those melodies, particularly in the Largo movement, we hear an ache, a hope for a better world. This theme that Dvorak composes is one that evokes the deepest sense of our longing to find what really feels like home. I invite you to join me on February 10th, 11th, and 12th, when Michael Christie takes the stand to lead us in this journey of longing to find our true home as mirrored by music. Michael Christie's dress rehearsal is open for you to attend, and I invite you in particular to come an hour before the performances on the evening of February 10th, the matinee, February 11th, or the evening of February 12th, when we will have a question and answer session talking about music and longing and the direction that he longs to lead the Santa Rosa Symphony as potentially its new music director. I invite you to come to Musical Mondays here at the Petulama Historical Library and Museum, where we will explore the music of the past that evokes the eternal themes of what it is to be human. I'm Dr. Kayleen Asbo, music historian for the Santa Rosa Symphony. Please come and join me in February as we take this musical adventure, audition our final candidate for music director, and celebrate the best of what being human is all about.